So, whether you like or dislike Faith Goldy, what is currently happening to her, you should think is pretty frightening, honestly, because, you know, she is now being forced to pay $43,000 to Bell Media because of a failed, lawsuit she brought forth a little while ago when they were refusing to air her ad during the mayoral election in Toronto. And a lot of people will say like, oh well, they don't have a right, or they don't need to air her ad, and she has no right to air it, yada yada yada, because this is a free company in a free market. It's funny how leftists only care about the free market when they are censoring conservatives from Twitter or some other type of platform, right? GoFundMe, whatever. But this is the only time that they like it. But in the case of Bell Media, they essentially have a monopoly on the media in Toronto. And the only reason they have that is because they don't allow outside competitors to come in and compete with Bell Media. So, normally I would have no problem with discrimination, but when there's only one person allowed to play the game in the city, then you got to make it so they allow everybody a chance to speak. Otherwise, your democracy that the liberal leftists love so much is not going to work that well. Well, actually, it will work well. It'll work well for them because you're only ever going to hear their side of the story. You're only going to ever hear the spin from the left, and you're never going to hear any arguments coming from the right. So yeah, it's good for them, and that's why democracies are shit, and they will inevitably fail because they will only ever pander to a certain percentage of that population, and then the rest of the people, they're like, fuck you, go to hell, you lost, it's 51 to 49%, we're going to impose our will on you. So that's not going to work out in the long run. It's going to create discontent and violence over time, because you see what's happening in Canada right now to like Alberta and these other provinces that are getting shit on, and whose money is being stolen from them and then redistributed into other provinces. Like, people can only take that for so long. People can only take Trudeau and the Liberals shitting on them, condescending them, and stealing their money for so long until they're like, fuck you, we're separating from Canada, get the fuck out of here. But, what is happening to Faith Goldy is bullshit. And now, like I said, she has to pay $43,000 back to Bell Media, an international, or like a multi-billion million dollar corporation, because they didn't play her fucking ads, which they should have. And people, it disgusts me that there's not more Canadians angry about this, but they're like, oh well, she's hateful and she's mean, and she deserves to have her platform removed because, or she deserves not to have voice because she's hateful and bigoted, and oh yeah, she was at the Charlottesville rally that one time and interviewed some Nazis, so this means that we have to forever condemn her and whatever. But oh, if you're an ISIS fighter and you kill people, well, we can forgive you for that. But if you're a right winger and you talk about reducing immigration or stopping it completely, which isn't a bad thing either, then you are the devil. You're evil. You're worse than ISIS. And this is how they treat us. They treat us worse than fucking ISIS. And you look in the UK, they're putting this couple away for 6 years because they were in this, I don't know, Nazi group that was started in like 2016, and it was made illegal in 2017, and now they're being put away for 6 years. I wonder if this is happening to all these ISIS fighters that are in the UK and in Europe and stuff. I wonder if people are really working hard to put them in prison. But no, they don't. They bring them back just like they're doing in Canada. We're bringing them into Canada and being like trying to, I don't know, bring them back into society and waste money on them and shit. But our own people who just don't want to be replaced, we are going to demonize. We're going to force them to pay Bell Media $43,000. And then when she started to raise her $43,000, there was this Canadian anti-hate network that got a bunch of people to go and report her. So then GoFundMe removed her GoFundMe account. So now she can't even raise money to pay these people off. You know, it's like these leftists, these Marxist socialists, they want us poor and destitute on the street, you know, begging and shit. They want us, you know, to be as low as we possibly can. And they don't care. They will do anything to do that, you know, and it's like, you know, it's so frustrating to see this. It's frustrating to see all the other Canadians being like, ha ha ha, this is hilarious that she has to pay money back. And it's just like, you know, how is this funny? You know, how is, you know, Bell Media discriminating against her and now forcing her to give them money, and now a group coming in and removing her GoFundMe? How is all this funny? You know, like, I guess I can kind of see from their perspective, because maybe they, you know, they see Faith Goldy as like some evil, bigoted racist that deserves everything that she gets. You know, like, oh, she's practically Hitler, so anything bad happens to her is okay with me. But it's like, man, she is a fellow Canadian, and all she wants is the best for Canada, the best for people like me and you. Okay, like that's literally it. And she's not calling for death or for violence or for anything like that, anything that the leftists call for all the fucking time. But you know, it's because leftists are just intolerant people in general. You know, that is why they are where they are right now. That's why they have so much power, because the people on the right are tolerant and do listen to other opinions and ideas and give these ideas a chance, these people to speak, have a platform, maybe hire some of them to be like, you know, get a different perspective. But when it comes to leftists, they are just intolerant. So, you know, anything that they don't like, they try to destroy. So as you see with Faith Goldy, they go to try to destroy it. You know, you look at universities. Do you see them trying to hire right-wingers and get right-wingers in school and shit? No, they're trying to destroy them. They're trying to stamp them out. Anytime somebody is slightly vocal about being right-wing in that type of environment, they're going to be like, what, expelled? The teacher's going to like downgrade them and all this shit. And all the teachers, if they are more right-wing, have to be extremely quiet about it, because otherwise they could potentially lose their fucking job. Whereas a leftist can do pretty much anything they want, but as long as they say the leftist mantra bullshit, then nobody's going to say anything about them. Then they're just going to move them to different schools and try to keep their bad behavior, you know, silent or under wraps or whatever, and they'll you know, defend you as much as they possibly can. But, you know, as soon as you make the sin of being right-winger, of wanting, you know, the best for Canadians, of wanting not to become a minority in your own fucking country, as soon as you want basic things like this, you are the enemy. You need to be destroyed. There is no conversation to be had between us and them. They don't want a conversation. They just want you destroyed. They want you on the street begging for fucking money. That's what they want. And they will stop at nothing to get it. They will never, ever wake up one day and be like, well, maybe we should allow people to speak and have debates and talk about these things. No, that's never going to happen, because as soon as that happens, they're going to lose their power. So it's this type of shit is never going to stop until we make it stop, or until the system collapses and we have to restart from scratch and shit. And maybe we can reteach people not to go in this direction that we're going in currently in our society, that's going to lead to our eventual destruction because of just the unsustainability of multiculturalism and socialism combined. Our economies are going to go to shit. We're not going to have the money available that we think we're going to have in the future. And and this could have all been prevented and stopped if you would stop censoring people like Faith Goldy. And it is the Bell Media and all these other companies that are doing it. But what's worse is the apathy from people and the kind of the glee coming from some people about other people being censored and being removed. And I don't think, like I said, the leftists, they don't really want to have these discussions. But a lot of people that are like, yes, and happy about Faith Goldy getting banned and all this crap, they're not necessarily like those people. They're just kind of useful idiots. And they maybe would be willing to have conversations and talk about stuff. But, they're master overlords that have taught them, not to speak to Nazis or to mean white supremacists, etc. This is the good thing to do, so they're just kind of listening to them. But those people, a lot of them can be convinced to have conversations with people, but their leaders, the people that are really in control of the leftists and stuff, they don't want a conversation to be had between normies, between us and normies and people that are sheep right now, because we can wake them up. We can convince them the importance of freedom of speech, why it's important, all these things. But it's better to come up with news stories to say like, these white supremacists are hiding behind the concept of free speech. Free speech is an antiquated idea, and it's not really useful in our day-to-day society because of hurtful language, and all that's just propaganda to try to get us to stop speaking honestly, to have free speech so we can actually work out our problems. Because now with the UN Global Compact for Migration and all this other shit, like just speaking about immigration and reducing it is going to be considered like hate speech. It's going to be considered like bigoted and all this bullshit, which it's not. It's just common sense things. But it's going to be like, well, that's not hate speech. That's not free speech. That's hate speech. You talking about this because all people are equal. Diversity is our strength, and if you say anything against it, you're a mean, evil person. You need to be shunned from society, like Faith Goldy is being shunned right now. And she has not done anything bad, anything violent to anybody. She just cares about Canadians, like old stock Canadians, first of all, which everybody should care about first. If you don't care about your family first above other people, then you're scum. Okay, you're a scum piece of shit human being, and you should just go fucking kill yourself right now, because we don't need people like you in our civilization, in our society. As soon as we start to lose our ability to want to take care of our own above other people, that is when everything just starts to break down. That is when it's okay. That's when we don't mind about being replaced anymore. We don't give a shit, right? But we need to start caring again. And, we don't have a lot of fucking time before things change. Before things change so fast that we can't reverse them anymore. And all these people praising Faith Goldy, getting forcing her to pay Bell Media back, and all these other people happy about all these illegal aliens crossing and all these refugees coming in. One day they're gonna wake up and they're gonna fucking regret it, because you know, them just trying to avoid being called racist right now is really going to bite them in the ass when they figure out that people are tribalistic and that you are white. Okay, doesn't matter how liberal, left wing you are, you're white. You're not a cool white person. They don't think of you as a cool white person. They don't. Okay, these other people from a lot of different groups, they'll come in, they'll be nice to your face, but behind closed doors, they think you are no better than the other evil right-wing white people and stuff, right? Don't think that when all these old white right-wingers are gone, that everything's just going to be great, and that there's not going to be an enemy, a new enemy that is going to pop up. And that new enemy is going to be you. It's going to be the leftover white people, because they're not going to have anybody else to blame. They're going to blame you. Then they're going to blame white women. Then after that, it's going to be whoever is below them, and it's just going to keep going on and going on and going on. And, we have a chance, with people like Faith Goldy to start to turn things around. And, I never thought she really had a chance of victory or anything like that in Toronto to begin with, considering just the population, the demographics. Toronto is a lost city already. But, it's just like I said, it's sad to see kind of just the glee that some people have of her being deplatformed or forced to pay Bell Media, and it's sickening. There's this one guy, Jonathan Goldsby, who works for Canada Land, and he's like, it's remarkable how many of Goldie's 70 plus donors choose to display their apparent real names, which we've of course preserved for future cross-referencing. So it's like, this motherfucker is like, oh, now we're going to be saving all these people's names who donated to Faith Goldy for cross-references in the future. So maybe we can find them at rallies, find their names, their faces, be like, oh, they donated to Faith Goldy. Now we contact their work and destroy their fucking lives. This is what they want to do. You are the enemy. You are their enemy, and they will stop at nothing. They will not speak. They will not have discussions. They will not do anything like that. They just want to destroy you. So, be aware of that. Don't think that we can convince these leftists to wake up one day and to value freedom of speech, to value these things, because they won't. They're not going to. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people can wake up one day and start to see the light, essentially, see, what the fuck they are doing right now. But, I don't have much hope in that. I think that, the more likely outcome in the future is just things will not be sustainable anymore, and things will just crumble. And we're going to have to restart society from scratch again because of the leftists that don't know how to live, that don't know how to use resources, who like to just live in excess, and who like to think resources are infinite. They will get us into an issue where we just can't sustain that type of life anymore. It's all going to crumble, and then we're just going to have to restart from scratch. And hopefully when we restart, we use some type of libertarian ish type of ideology to make that new country, that new civilization. Because, like I said, the way it is now, I just don't see people waking up in time. I don't see people just valuing all of these things when it will be necessary to, right? Like, maybe I'm wrong, but time is running out. Our demographics are changing every single fucking day. We are being replaced. Canada is the most heavily what do you call it, being replaced race on the planet. Like we have like the most immigration that is happening in Canada compared to pretty much anywhere else per capita. Like the amount of people, like 60% of our population is being replaced with immigration already, and it's just going to grow, and things are only going to get worse. And Faith Goldy, people like her are going to be censored more and more and more, and people that say things like half as moderate as her, like, you know, just a few things similar to her, are going to be shut down, and it's just going to get worse. You know, diversity is not our fucking strength, okay? It's just making us weaker, and it is going to destroy freedom of speech, and you're going to get all these fucking bullshit leftists who, you know, who have been convinced not to support freedom of speech, and you're going to have all these other people coming in from cultures who don't have freedom of speech, who don't understand the concept of freedom of speech, who don't internalize it the way that we do. And then they're not going to fight for it. They're not going to keep it around. And, you know, we won't even be able to do stuff like this. We won't be able to. But you know, it really sucks what's happening to her. And, you know, if there's any other way that people can donate to her, I suggest you do. I didn't see anything else that she was promoting to donate to, but if you know of anything, put in the link in the description below. And yeah, sorry I ranted on for a little bit there. I talked about a bunch of random shit. But also, sorry, I've been gone for a couple weeks now. I went on a vacation for a few days to Grand Prairie. And then when I came back, I got really sick for about a week. And, you know, I was just coughing really bad. I couldn't really, you know, I had a fever and shit. So that's why I've been gone. And I'm going to start making more regular videos again, hopefully. But, you know, just don't worry. I'm not going to go anywhere, anytime soon. But if you like my content, subscribe, and have a good day. See ya.